All right, and welcome back to the Light Live. This is an experiment we're doing here at our Philadelphia office, and I'm having a good time. So I'm probably going to do this again. We got some food going on, we got some social activities, some special guests. We have the Vibe Mistress from Soul Sanctuary Radio in the building. Hey, Stephanie.
Hi.
Would you introduce yourself, please, and tell us about Soul Sanctuary?
All right. Again, I'm Stephanie Renee, and Soul Sanctuary is a nonprofit arts education foundation that's founded on the preservation and proliferation of positive soulful expression. So that manifests itself on our radio station, which is 24/7. Our video streaming programs, our educational programs. The idea is to make sure that we have a multi-generational approach to appreciating Black culture in all of its forms and in the way that it has reached out globally. And turn back in on itself. So, the project is really about having presence. And, we've been in this room having a conversation about what's happening in the real world as opposed to digitally. So we use digital as the medium, but the idea is always to be soulful connection. And that's much more important than just what's streaming through your speakers.
Can you tell us the quick story of how you decided that Soul Sanctuary needed to be a 24-hour radio service?
Absolutely. It's okay. The the pandemic happened, of course, and we all remember what it was like to be inside and not have any way to commune with one another in person safely. And so leading up to that point, Soul Sanctuary Radio had been more of a podcast, right? Downloadable mixes, weekly mixes, me doing guest mixes for all manner of internet radio stations. And in that moment of complete shutdown, I said, well, this should be a vehicle to be able to not only honor at that point, 17 years worth of archives I had from doing the show as long as I had, but also, if we can't see each other, how do we continue to push the culture forward, right? People were recording YouTube and everything, recording their live performances and everything and streaming them out to the world. The artists that had the means were releasing music that they were recording at home. So to me, it just seemed like the time to not necessarily be dependent on third party anything, but to sort of hunker down and own the content in a real way. So I did a fundraising campaign through the Soul Sanctuary website and got the laptop basically that runs the stage and the software that does it, thanks to the generosity of listeners and supporters.
How can we tune into Soul Sanctuary Radio?
The website for Soul Sanctuary is soul-sanctuary.net. And so that's where you can go to link to everything. So there's a player on the page, or it can bounce you out to internetradio.com is our sort of hosting, our main hosting server outside of my home.
Okay. All right. Behind the scenes, before everybody got here, we were talking a little bit of Michael Jackson. Now, normally I would play King of the Hill, but I just want to ask you some pointedly direct questions about Michael Jackson and maybe argue a little bit. Do you have a favorite pre-Epic Records Michael Jackson song?
Michael solo?
Yeah, because a lot of people don't know he had a whole solo career before Off the Wall.
I would say probably before that it would be Farewell My Summer Love.
Okay. All right. What is it about that you vibe with?
Because it was light. Like that song was youthful. right?
Okay.
It wasn't weighed down with all of the "you did me wrong" adult kinds of things.
Yeah.
It felt like summer.
Right.
It sounded like summer, and it was about young love from a
Okay.
young man. So I love that.
Yeah, I will say this. I think he did a great job, but a lot of times Michael was punching way above his weight class
Yeah.
with a lot of the songs he did, especially on his on his Motown albums. Uh, I love the songs, but I'm like, whoo, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's pretty heavy, dude. Okay, I'll give it to you. Um, Now, the thing that we were discussing was you made a statement on your show where you said that Off the Wall was the undisputed best Michael Jackson album. Well,
Yes.
maybe,
And I stand behind that. So
but the word the only thing I disagree with or have issue with is when you say undisputed.
like I said, undisputed for me.
Okay. All
Let me
right.
preface
Okay.
this. Quincy Jones was my King Zero musically. Period. Point blank. The end. Right.
Okay.
And part of that is because there is nobody, living or dead, that was able to span the vast amount of time that Quincy did and work with the vast array of artists that Quincy did and find a signature sound for each of them that worked. And also keep monsters musically together in a unit to play for people that also diversified that sound and gave them jams that were so uniquely theirs. And so for Quincy to say, one, Michael, part of your turning point as an artist is going to be Scarecrow in The Wiz, so that
Right.
people can understand you as a talent separate from your family, and then to take that energy and build that into Off the Wall. It was a movement. This wasn't I'm trying to put out a hit album. This is I'm trying to help a young man define himself for himself in this industry, which nobody does anymore. Everybody wants you to sound like the next thing, the thing that's hot now. Not even the
Right.
thing that's going to be hot next.
Right.
Right? The thing that's hot now.
Right.
And so the songs on that album were all designed to make people passionate about the music and allow Michael to be himself. The fact that he left in that cry, that voice break, and "She's Out of My Life," that was intentional. Like he wanted people to understand Michael felt this music so much that this is the emotion that he was pouring into it. Nobody would do that anymore. They'd scrub that clean. It would be digitally rejiggered so that it was perfect sounding, right? But the idea that you leave in, that's part of the reason why, this is a little bit of a tangent, but it's part of the reason why I love D'Angelo. If you've listened to D'Angelo's albums, especially with headphones on, he was constantly talking to the band. They left all of it in there. They were recording those things live in the moment. I love those things. India Arie has a habit of laughing while she's recording. They leave that in her music too. So there are very few people in this industry that allow the imperfections to be part of what make people like me love them that much more. And to me, that's part of what Off the Wall was. All those little vocal ad-libs, layers and layers and layers of tracks. Like if you go back, there are people now who are doing podcasts where they take the stems
Right.
and they just listen to them so they can analyze it. My God, the vocal harmonies. My God.
Okay, so I agree with you. Listen, most of the people I know who know music on more than the surface level agree that in many ways Off the Wall is a superior album to Thriller based on authenticity alone. Only reason why I say it's disputed is because Thriller did change the game in so many ways, and Here's the thing that always scares me about Thriller, even to this day. As a DJ, when I heard it, I was like, "Whoa, that's different. That's going to change some things." Like the first thing I said to myself, "What's going to be the B side to the singles?" And so I said, "Well, maybe it's just me." And so I called up other DJs. You heard Thriller yet? He was like, "Yeah." And we were almost whispering to each other because you can't predict when something just because it's great doesn't mean it's going to sell. Doesn't mean people are going to get it and everything like that.
Right.
Everything that was supposed to happen with Thriller happened and more.
Yes.
You know, and even with everything that happened, we still weren't surprised because we literally when we heard it the first time, we was like, I don't know how big this could be. I don't know how good this could be. So I'm just saying there could be a little bit of dispute.
For commercial sales and for pushing the industry further, that's where Thriller comes in.
Right.
But musically,
Yeah.
statement-wise, it's off the wall. That's why I say it's undisputed.
Okay.
They both hold amazing space in terms of the musical arc.
Right. Right.
But they're two very different projects. And the one that I almost slept on because I didn't take enough time to sit and play it all the way through was Unbreakable.
Okay.
That album, I mean, you know, Teddy Riley being Teddy Riley. So, you know, his imprint is very much on that project. But lyrically and just the sort of sweetness of the mature Michael,
Right.
that to me, that album is superior to Dangerous. People will argue about these things. Like if you're a fan, there are all kinds of things to argue about. What you can't argue about is Michael's impact, about his sheer talent and his impact. So, you know, people can pick their favorites, but
There you go.
I will die on the hill.
Okay, so
musically.
give me Stephanie Renee's banger or Stephanie Renee's favorite song from Off the Wall.
All right, so I'm gonna say probably the unpopular choice, but I have good reasons. Because anybody who knows me, and I talk about this on my video show all the time, is I have a vocal pyramid. At the top of my vocal pyramid is Shaka, hands down.
Okay.
On level 2 of my vocal pyramid is Donna Summer and Patty Austin.
Okay.
And so, if you're asking me about Off the Wall, it's the Falling in Love.
Okay. All right. And when it comes to Thriller, what is your pick?
All right, I'm gonna go left.
Okay.
Because I can't say either of the two B songs because that's the expectation, and you don't want to say the title track, even though for Vincent Price alone, it probably should be Thriller. But I'm gonna say "Wanna Be Starting Something."
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
Because
I'll ask you why.
It leads the album. So for people that didn't know that it was borrowed from Manu Dibango, then okay, fine.
Right.
But I just played it in my show this week.
Right.
It is so funky. That's one of those tracks that I feel like people, you know, you hear it and you sing along with it. I'm like, no, stop whatever you're doing, sit and listen to it again. Because again, the layers of that, and God bless Saida Garrett, because that was the project where Quincy had the good sense to say, Saida, demo some of these songs, and Michael heard her, and he was like, oh, we're keeping that. We're keeping all of that here.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right. Two things. It is almost impossible to listen to "Wanna Be Starting Something" without singing. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I agree. Wholeheartedly. If you had been in the car beside me the other day, you would have been like, "What in the world is she listening to?" Because I was having my own private concert.
Right. And then the other thing to me is, and this is probably something we could go back and forth on. I always saw want to be starting something as an extension or part two of Don't Stop Till You Get Enough. And, at first I thought it was just me, but then I remember something Chuck D said about when he first heard Rapper's Delight. He said the song is like 11, 15 minutes long, and the average person listens to it and says, that's a long record. He said as somebody who grew up before that music was being recorded, I'm amazed at how short that song was. So the reason why I say it's a continuation of Don't Stop Till You Get Enough, every time I hear Don't Stop Till You Get Enough, I wish you just would keep going for another 5 minutes. Just like 2 minutes more, and it's already, about 7 minutes long?
Yeah.
It's already about 7 minutes long. So you can imagine what they took out, to make it 7 minutes long. And so I'm thinking, okay, so we'll save some of that for the next album.
All right. I think it's interesting, but part of what I encourage all of your viewers, listeners to do is to go back, even if you own the albums, go back and get the remastered albums with the Quincy commentary.
Yes. With the demos.
And the demos, right?
Yes.
Because that's why in my head I don't hear "Wanna Be Starting Something" and "Don't Stop Till You Get Enough" the same.
Right.
Because "Don't Stop Till You Get Enough" in demo form was a family affair.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So
with the Coke bottles.
Right. So that energy is, I think, kind of essential to that. But "Wanna Be Starting Something" was like the IMAX version. You know what I mean? Like
yes.
with the choir vocals and all the reverb, so it just sounded huge.
Yep.
So it's different. "Don't Stop Till You Get Enough," even from the demo to what ended up on the album, was a more of an intimate sound.
Yes.
And "Wanna Be Starting Something" was just huge.
Well, again, it takes us back to what we said about authenticity and rawness and what Michael was looking to accomplish with Off the Wall and what he was looking to accomplish with Thriller.
But the songs are in the same key, and now you're going to make me want to go home and mix them. Now that you have said that, now I'm going to start to hear them together in my head.
So we'll get you out on this. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to talk to us. What have you got coming up for 2026 that we can get excited about?
I am very excited that I will be leading an open mic workshop at Swarthmore College that I'm calling Infusion. And so kind of an extension of what I've done in the past at Penn with just the open mic, like come one, come all, no cover charge, just come share your art.
Okay.
This one's going to be a little bit more directed, which is why I'm calling it a workshop, because what we want to do is, since our young people in particular aren't as well versed in culture from across genre,
right,
I want to plant a seed with something that they should know, and we want to use that as a place to create our own things, whether that's music or poetry or monologue for acting. So we're going to use each individual session as a workshop, and at the end of the semester we'll do kind of a best of.
Okay. And how can we get more information about that?
It will be up on the Soul Sanctuary website soon. We're still working out the details of when we're going to meet and such, but it's going to start in January.
So will it be with the students, or
it will be
with the community?
Anybody who wants to come. Students, faculty, staff, and community members are welcome.
All right, this is The Light Live. Give it up for our guest, Stephanie Renee. We'll be back with more after this.